Hey gang, Adam Von Romer here, author, speaker, seminar leader, 32-year veteran of the commercial investment real estate world, and founder of the Commercial Investment Real Estate Academy. And I've been getting a lot of questions about tracking offers and why you want to do that, and pretty much, how you actually do it, and, just what utility it really has. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We're not going to be, in session real long today, but I think this is incredibly important. And I think you'll see how it has some far-ranging consequences as we move through this thing. So it's one of the most incredibly simplistic things you can do, yet it's probably one of the most invaluable things you can do. So sit back, relax, and here we go. First off, I want to talk a little bit about why you want to create or put together an offer tracking form. And I think the number one reason, and this may sound blatantly obvious, is that it keeps you organized. In other words, it gives you a central repository, if you will, to put your information regarding offers so that you don't have to go flipping back and forth through a bunch of papers trying to compare and contrast offers and see really where you're positioned. Plus, it gives you an opportunity to put in data regarding the offer, or so that if there's a price change or something that you need to visit later on, you can always come back and do that quickly and easily. Next up, it creates a visual depiction, if you will, of the marketplace. Now, I want you to think about this, and if you didn't take statistics in high school or college, this might be a foreign concept to you. But you're going to have kind of a clustering of offers in and around where that market value is. In fact, the more data you look at, the more there's a preponderance, if you will, of offerors to come in and around a strike price or a market price. Now, yeah, you're going to have some lunatics that come in and lowball it, but those are those outliers that you heard about in statistics. You pretty much kick them out. You just kind of disregard them because they're not even there. But what you'll find out, and I'll show you in the sheet that we're coming up to look at, is that there's a tendency to cluster around a certain price point, and that's really the indicated market value. So you want to have some kind of representation or some methodology of looking at that quickly and easily and seeing how your pricing opinion comports with what's actually going on in the marketplace. Also, it serves to support your opinion of value in the seller's mind. So remember, I told you when you present to the seller, you're just going to, you're going to make it the amorphous market. So you're not the bad guy here. And you're going to say, hey, look, seller, this isn't me making this stuff up. This is hot from the market. This is what the market is saying. The market is speaking to us. Here are the offers. This is what the market believes the value of the property to be. So again, you're deflecting that any animosity or negative feelings that are generated because the seller's not getting exactly what they expected, and you're throwing that all on the big bad amorphous market. And this serves as evidence to kind of cement that in the seller's mind. Next up, it provides empirical data if an adjustment is needed. So let's say that you went into your listing presentation, you said, hey, look, the market indicated value in this case is $6.5 million. And I'm just pulling a number out of the air here. And the seller says, no, I want 7. Like that's never happened before in anybody's life. So we go back and forth, we argue. And for some reason or other, we decided to go ahead and take it at $7 million with the express understanding that we're going to come back and make an adjustment closer to market in the event that one is required. Well, how do you prove that? And that's really where the offer tracking sheet and process comes in. So what you're doing is you're going to be able to come back in with empirical data, not something that's speculative, not something that you made up, not something that you were wishing and hoping for, but something that's really happening in real time. And I'm actually going to show you one that I used on a real transaction, and we're back in that transaction again. I'm going to show you, I'm going to fill one out as we go through this because I got 2 new offers. So I want you to see a real deal kind of in real time, if that makes some sense. Next up, it solidifies in the seller's mind that you're working for them. Why? Because what you're going to do is you're going to provide them essentially all of this information. And what I recommend you do, and this is purely hypothetical and speculative on my part, but I would make it part of your listing retention tools. And about once a month or so, what I'd do is I'd send the seller a letter basically insert a copy of the listing retention sheet in there and say, hey, look, seller, here's what the market's indicated, here's what they're saying, and as always, we're going to continue to work and market your property for you, but I want you to see what's going on in the marketplace and what the market believes the value of the property to be. Again, taking that focus off of yourself and putting it firmly on the market. And if you do it right, it actually will become kind of your database for follow-up, especially in the event that there's a price reduction or a price change, or there's any change in conditions regarding the property, and maybe one of these offerors needs to take another run at it, or another bite, a second bite at the apple. It gives us the opportunity to go back in and do just that. Now, if you use this as part of your system or your process, like I keep preaching, you're saving your emails so you can go right back into that. You're putting the buyers, the prospective buyers, into a database, and you can probably quickly and easily, with a couple of clicks of a button, bring the thing up, send out a broadcast email to these people, and really alert them to what's going on the property. And it's not that hard to do. In fact, here's the offer, the listing retention or offer tracking sheet right now from this actual deal. This is just an Excel spreadsheet that I copied and stuck in here as an illustration. And if you look, right here's the date that the offer was made, who made the offer, what the price point was, what their deposits were, the due diligence, going across the top, I'm sure you're seeing this with me, right here, the closing, and any comments that were made. And for my purposes, what I do is I like to highlight when we make a counteroffer. So remember, from real estate school, you have the offeror, who made the offer, and then when it becomes a counteroffer, the seller really becomes an offer. Now, don't panic, because I have the owner of the property's permission to do this. And I asked him if I could use this as a demonstration case, and he said, sure, no problem. But here's the actual sheet that I used to put this thing together and track the offers. Now, the other thing I want you to really kind of pay attention to is look at the ask versus the bid. In this case, we had this property listed at 7.3. So the sellers dug in right around the 7.1, 7.2, $7 million mark. The market was at 6.2, 6.3, 6.5, 6.5. This one might as well have thrown it out. 5.236, that's nuts. 5.33, nuts. And we actually had a letter of intent on this property at $6.91 million. So what's that tell us empirically? That the value of this property is probably somewhere in the upper sixes, in the 6,750 to 6.9 range. That's what I'm getting from that. The other thing is, look at this deposit. In the face of a $6.2 million deal, a $25,000 deposit is woefully inadequate. It's just not representative of what's going on in the marketplace, and it's certainly not representative of a real deal. I don't think that expresses sincerity at all on the part of the buyer. Now, I want to show you something real quick. I'm going to go ahead and open up a Excel spreadsheet that I just happen to have laying here, and there it is. There's the Green Turtle Plaza again. I'm going to skip a space here. I'm going to put in a new offer. So on the 16th of June in 2016, see if I got that right, in the year of our Lord, 2016, we got a new offer. We got one offer today from Joe Spezio again. And Joe Spezio, who is an investor from New York, has offered $6.7 million. We'll go ahead and put that in. Oop, got to put an extra zero in there. And you can see just how easy this is. Not a particularly difficult process, but it gives us the ability to kind of track what's going on in the property. And according to this offer, and I'm not going to belabor the issue and show you the actual offer, he's going to put up a total of $400,000. So I think that shows some real sincerity on his part. And his offer closes in 90 days. So he wants 90 days closing and 45 days due diligence. Go ahead and put that in. And we'll go ahead and put our 90 days in. I almost feel like that guy that used to do the painting show, the happy little trees. Now, I'm actually going to go see the seller this afternoon. We're having lunch together, and I'm going to present these offers, and then I'm going to come back with some counter offers. So we got another one, though. I got to tell you, right now, this property is listed at $7.4 million. The price went up a little bit from last year, and the reason for that is we have lease renewals and we have some more income. So the leases have renewed or rolled over. We've got additional income, so the price went up. Okay, this offer, fascinatingly enough, $7.4 million. So that's not a bad thing. However, we've got some issues here. We've got a deposit. Now, the deposit's not bad. It's $150,000, but this guy wants 180 days due diligence, and then he wants to close 30 days after that. Well, clearly that's not in the best interest of the seller. But again, we've gone ahead and we've put this stuff in here so we can get back to sharing this information essentially with the seller. And again, remember, my whole premise in this thing was to do what? We wanted to show the seller that we're tracking the offers, that we're working on their behalf. And in fact, let me pop back to my earlier slide. Can you see what I'm talking about how it keeps you organized? And it's creating a visual depiction of what's going on in the market. We've got evidence to our pricing. It's giving us the data we need in the event that we need to make an adjustment. And we're certainly solidifying in the seller's mind, what it is that we're doing on their behalf. And if you look, and here's what I want you to take a look at and pay attention to. Right here, I think we've got a pretty good indication as to what the market value is. So, and in fact, even we could go in here and we could do an average to come up with that and see how that comports. And see how that really positions in line with our price opinion. But I think, as you can see, we're pretty much there, and we're dangerously close. We're in that danger zone where we're only a commission away from a closing here. So now we've got a little bit of work to do. And guys, I want you to understand, and I'll say this again and again as we go through this program, we're not really brokering a $7.4 million deal. Where we're living is we're living in that delta. We're actually brokering that $700,000 spread. So we've got a little bit of work to do for ourselves, but as you can see, we've got a tool that we can use to go back to the seller and explain what's going on and explain how we're tracking all that activity for them. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I want to make sure I keep that data. And then I'm going to pop back over here to finish up and conclude our chat here. Go ahead and close that out. So one of the reasons, like we said, it's important, keeps you organized, creates that visual depiction, and you can see, I think, what the value of it is. There's the example that I use so you can really take a look at that. And that concludes my comments in this brief section on offer tracking. As always, if you have any questions about the offer tracking or the methodology, or if you want a copy of my offer tracking form, which is a real simple Excel spreadsheet, all you got to do is email me, avonromer@outlook.com. I'll be glad to send that to you. But I want you to think about the process and think about making it part of your business practice. That way you can keep track of your offers, keep track of what's going on, and really stay on top of your transactions. Again, I want to thank you for joining me, and I wish you continued success. Talk to y'all later.